All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are really excited to just have you all here, as we know that you have many questions around reopening, what next week will look like, uncharted territory with being in a virtual space. So, welcome back to Yes Prep North Forest, to our little legends, our big legends. We're excited to have you here tonight to answer any questions that you may have around our reopening strategies and what that space again will look like in a virtual space. So I just want everyone to know that we care about you all. So at Yes Prep, our priority is the health and safety of our students and families in the future, as a present and as in the future as well. So if you need any assistance, please go to the site seen below. As we know that the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the world in more ways than we know. So again, if you have or need any assistance, go to the website seen below and or reach out to me directly so that we can ensure that you get the support you need as we go into or charge into the next school year, the 2021 school year. So the norms, just make sure that your mic is muted. If you have any questions, hold on, we'll go on to the next slide to show you how to ask questions. Hold on 1 second. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those questions into the chat box. So just feel free to just click the icon and then just ask the question. There are no such thing as a silly question in this space because we know that we've thought of a lot of things, but we probably haven't thought of 100% of the things. So as you ask the question, if we have the answer, we have people on the call, members of the team, the leadership team, non-instructional team that will be answering questions as we go. But if we don't have the answer, we promise that we'll get back to you by close of business Friday. So just an overview. So today we're going to be talking about our strategies and open up with academics, culture, our operations, the reopening strategy with those three college initiatives, what it looks like with our juniors and our seniors, upcoming important dates, and then closeouts. And we'll have a time for you all to ask some questions, again, that we may have the answers to. And if we don't, we promise and commit to getting those answers to you. So like it's very important for me to just always ground myself in the mission. So thinking about what did reopening for North Forest look like? I was thinking that we could be in virtual in person, and then it dawned to me that we were going to be in virtual. But did that change the mission? And it absolutely does not. So we exist to increase the number of college-ready graduates in the North Forest community, whether that be virtual or in person. So academics overview. So Yes Prep North Forest in every classroom, online or physical, every day, all students engage in rigorous aligned activity, active learning, resulting in college readiness. So what that means is this is very different than Keep Yes Prep Learning 1.0, and we'll be getting into what the difference is between last semester and how we'll be reopening. And if you're a sixth grade parent coming in, we'll be getting to what does that mean for your sixth grade student as well, or any new student. So changes to online learning. Teachers will teach their own students synchronously and then asynchronously for 45 minutes. We're going to give you what that schedule looks like in a minute. Teachers will be able to provide direct support through small group instruction during asynchronous time. The amount of instruction will increase and the schedule will be aligned to an in-person school day model. So last semester, we had teachers upload lessons. Students were able to log in to the lessons, and as long as they were getting the work done, it was okay. We're going to be treating the new schedule or the new year as if it was a regular day. So meaning that students will be expected to be online all day and they will be a part of either synchronous or asynchronous instruction. Again, synchronous is direct instruction from teachers. Asynchronous may have our teachers pulling out small groups, giving support to extra support to other students. But regardless, students will be responsible for engaging in instruction all day. This is going to be a major change for a lot of our students as they were used to kind of logging in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. whatever best fit the schedules. So now we're asking them to treat it again as if it was a regular school day. So synchronous. Students will engage in the course activities at a specific date and time. Everyone will be online at the same time. So this is when they'll join our team session. They'll be engaging with the teacher in a live setting. They'll be engaging with each other in a live setting. So we know that it's not optimal and that they can't engage like they would be in class, but with it being in a virtual space, they'll all be in a session. So if the teacher asks them to drop an answer in the chat, they'll be able to do so and engage with each other and push each other. Asynchronous, students engage in course specified activities at their own pace. So this might be pre-recorded, this might just be assignments that they need to complete. One thing that I'm confident of is that these synchronous and the asynchronous lessons are truly going to prepare our students to be college ready, as college has now become more at your own pace and having to go in person and or remain virtual. So we'll be very excited to have our students become more tech savvy with engaging in synchronous and asynchronous lessons. So here's an example of a bell schedule. So we have course one. So let's say course one is English. They would be engaging in English from 8:30 to 9:25. Then they would be engaging in asynchronous. So this might be a lesson. This might just be an assignment, a project from 9:25 to 10:10. Again, this is teaching our students responsibility, as they have to be responsible for being in class and or completing things on their own. Same thing for 10:15 to 11:45. Essentially, they will be engaging asynchronous and then synchronous, then asynchronous. This is also to cut back on the amount of time that students have to absolutely sit in front of a computer. We realize that it can be exhausting to sit in front of a computer all day. So the asynchronous sessions allow students to kind of take a step back and then come back and engage in those asynchronous lessons. So you all would definitely need, we also would need your support in ensuring that students engage in asynchronous lessons and that they are completing those things, because it's essential. And then again, they'll have lunch from 11:50 to 12:40. And then after that, it continues. So synchronous and then asynchronous with course 3 and course 4, as we want to push students to learn how to engage in both synchronous and asynchronous lessons. Student courses are broken down by 45 minutes. Again, as adults, we've realized that being in a meeting or learning things at 45 minutes can be very overwhelming. That's why we broke it down as such. I'm going to have Ms. Lightfoot unmute and turn her video on to talk about the differences between grading this in the 2021 school year and how we ended in the 1920 school year.
So for those of you who are with us at the end of last year during Keep Yes Prep Learning, the grading allowed for any student who was at least present to pass the class. What is different this year is that grading in person is going to be aligned with virtual grading. This means that all of our assignments will count at 75% formative and 25% summative. When you think about the difference between formative and summative grades are to inform, so they're going to be your smaller assignments like your quizzes, your exit tickets, maybe some daily work, whereas summative grades are going to be your larger ones like unit exams, research papers, any large test. So there is no participation grade this year, so keep that in mind, that every single outcome that you produce is actually what's going to determine your grade in the class.
Thanks, Ms. Lightfoot. And we know that, again, that this is different because we realized that at the end of last semester, if you were with us, that students got that participation grade. The lowest grade that they could receive at the time was a 70, because again, we were entering a pandemic, but we definitely want to ensure that students are learning this year. So this is a major change. So if you have a student that is returning, just express the importance of attending all sessions. And if you have our new legends, this is going to be different because we know how different middle school is. So their first day of middle school is going to be in a virtual setting. So anything that we can do to support with adjusting to this virtual setting, let us know, because we want to ensure that students are maximizing the educational experience. So Teams. So Teams is very different, you all, in terms of how students will log on to engage with their teachers. It is an app that we use as an organization. So Microsoft Teams is the only learning management system that we use at Yes Prep North Forest and in Yes Prep. All assignments, announcements, and daily virtual classes will reside in Teams. So every day, every morning, we'll be dropping new information into the students' updates, so that you all can see the updates that we have for students, whether it be around grades, whether it be around anything that has happened on campus, whether it be about reopening strategies, etc. When you are trying to find the assignments, just make sure that you're clicking the assignments icon to find active assignments for your classes. This is for the students, but we want to encourage parents to do this as well. So if you're supporting your student with seeing how to better organize themselves in order to complete assignments, just make sure you click that assignments icon to see what active assignments they have. And if they miss the assignment as well, just seeing what assignment they missed and just reaching out to the teacher, give them some context, because we know that things may happen, right? Like internet can go down, power outages, storms come through, teams sometimes may malfunction a bit. So you may not necessarily have the opportunity. So just stay aware of assignments that are due, and don't be afraid and hesitant to engage in what the Teams Online platform looks like with your student, to ensure that they are staying on top of everything and all the necessary deadlines that they need to make. And if you need help navigating Microsoft Teams for Online, you can visit the site seen below. Also, too, we're also going to be creating sending you all videos on how to navigate Teams. As we know, it's a very cool application, but we also realize that it has a lot of functions that we are just now realizing as well. So Ms. Carlos, Ms. Umaya, and the operations team are starting to put together some videos that we plan on sending you all tonight, or not tonight, this week, so that you all can better navigate Teams. And if you have any questions and or feedback and suggestions, that things that you may or may not need with navigating Teams, please send those our way as well, so that we can get that information in those videos to you. So the school culture and mission, we will embrace the diverse communities, cultures, identities, and abilities of all students, empowering students to succeed in college and lead choice-filled lives. This mission remains the same, whether it be in a virtual or in-person space, and we're reimagining what this can look like. And that school culture, the school culture at Yes Prep creates a school environment rooted in the belief in what is possible for all students and grounds actions in the Yes Prep core values. Strong school culture establishes rules of interaction that lead to all community members feeling valued, seen, and supported, and ensures that our school physical environments reinforce our history, tradition, values, and college-going identity. This again remains true at Yes Prep North Forest. Again, whether we be virtual in person, we are going to ensure that we are making sure that 6th through 12th grade, you're becoming more and more college ready, and that we're creating an inclusive environment for all stakeholders to succeed. So we have our culture team that will be reaching out to see what supports we can offer in this virtual space. And then when things go back to normal, we have all the hope that we know that they will resume in doing that. And this is something that we're continuously striving to get better at in creating an inclusive environment for all stakeholders. So the family engagement team, this is how we're going to get there. So at the end of last semester, we realized that at times we would peak in which students would become active on Teams, and on other days it would just decrease drastically. So what we want to do is we created a team called the engagement team. That's sole purpose is to partner up with parents to ensure that you know when a student is active and when a student is inactive. So if a student is inactive, I can guarantee you that a member of the engagement team will reach out to you according to ADA to say, hey, what's going on, just to make sure that the student is staying aware of things that they're missing, getting the work that they're missing, and or giving you all the support that you need. We also too have created an initiative in which our advisory or our homeroom teachers will be having one touch point a week with you all for a wellness check, just to make sure everything is going okay. And we have a family ambassador. Our family ambassador represents the school through thoughtful, meaningful, and culturally appropriate communications. The ambassador works to bridge the gaps between home and school. We realized that we don't have all the answers, so what we did was we created in the organization this family ambassador that helps us think through the things so that we're getting the information to you all that you need. And I'm so excited that our family ambassador also is an employee at the school, which is extremely important to me, Angelina Rocha. And her son still goes to the school, and she does not hesitate in holding us accountable to things that we need to do better as a school staff and administration, in terms of like the communication that's needed for parents to be successful with their students come back to school in the 2021 school year, whether it be virtual or in person. All right, so our goals. So I was thinking about academic goals, and our academic goals remain the same. Again, we exist to increase the number of college-ready graduates in the North Forest community. We also are on the cusp, you all, of being an A school, which is unheard of in the North Forest community. So I'm so proud and excited to lead a school that, again, is just points away from being an A school in the North Forest community, specifically on the north side. Our short-term goals is that student engagement. We realize that this virtual space presents a lot of challenges. So our short-term goal is that 100% of students will engage actively in virtual learning. We are going to be relentless in calling parents day after day to ensure that students are engaged, and if they're not engaged, figuring out the why and how we can help you all. That students will persist at 92.9%. Let's just go ahead and round it up. 93% of our students will persist. I'm proud to say that over the last couple of years, we've exceeded this number, and our student persistence has only gotten better with time. And that 96.5% of average daily attendance that students will attend. And again, with the creation of the engagement team, I have no doubt that we will reach this goal. And I'm more than happy, again, to just hear you all's thoughts on how we continue to just get better and better at this goal, knowing that being in a virtual space is less than optimal. But this goal remains the same, that we want at least 97% of our students engaging in online or in-person learning. And our culture team remains the same in terms of initiatives that they have. It is important for us, no matter who you are, to have a sense of belonging. It is extremely important to me, specifically in this COVID-19 environment, that when you send your kids to our school, that they remain safe and secure, and that we do everything in our power to make sure that they remain that way, and that we over communicate with you all in the event that something happens. And social emotional support. Virtual reality and living and communicating through a computer is hard, so ensuring that our student support counselors are reaching out if students are struggling with it, and or in person, social emotional support remains a focal point for the culture team and ensuring the social and emotional wellness of our students. So our community norms, I'm gonna give you all a minute to look over our community norms. So we commit to being safe, no matter the setting. We commit to saying that we will distract or limit distracting behaviors. So just saying that if a student is engaging online, that you all support us with limiting the number of distractions, and we commit to doing the same. And that community members use words and actions that lift others up in a virtual or in-person space. So it is very important that we continue to act with our values and ethic with compassion, no matter the space. We still will be using Hero. If you're new to what Hero is, it is an application that we use to manage behavior and incentivize. So we have our epic values of empowerment, perseverance, integrity, and compassion that we'll continue to utilize and reward through a virtual space. But in that event, we are making sure that we're demonstrating a safe behavior towards self, others, and technology. So no matter if we're in person or virtual, it's important that we remember that. Preserves an on-topic learning environment. It's so easy, y'all, to get distracted in this environment. We got TVs, we got game systems, we have phones. So we need to make sure that students remain distraction free and on topic, as well as they engage in lessons, they remain on topic. And communicates and acts using appropriate and kind language to peers and teachers. So again, treating this as if we were in person. So text as we utilize the chat function, where we want to prioritize with our students, that they do so in a way that is appropriate to learning and do so in a way that is less distractive to others. So I'm not gonna dive into this extensively, but a lot of the things that we're gonna be doing, some of the things that we did in the in-person space resulted in a lot of students receiving detention. We're gonna be moving towards a more restorative approach as we realize that this is gonna be new for our students. So we can go to the next slide. A lot of the things are gonna be redirecting students, and if we have to redirect students multiple times, so if you see we're on our 6th time redirecting students, we'll be having our dean of students, one of them is joining us right now, Ms. Suggs and Mr. Nelson, reaching out to you all just to ensure that we're having a restorative conversation, and then we are supporting you all and giving you all the tools needed to be for your student to be successful in a virtual environment. So moving away towards the punitive and redirecting and yelling at kids or yelling at our students in a virtual space, and moving more towards like, how do we restore them and give them the tools and the skills needed to be successful in this environment. And it continues. So again, DOS and SSCs will be intervening accordingly if we need to, and if I need to, and if Mr. Paylor needs to, inviting you all and having a meeting with y'all how to set your student up for success. We might be having our students complete a project on how they can interact better with their peers and or teacher if it just continues. But this again is 9 times. Our hope is that with taking this restorative approach, that we don't get to the 9 times, that we just limit it to the 3 times, and that all students are successful in this virtual environment. What we want our student, the virtual expectations to just exhibit is just that we're communicating appropriate, kind, and respectful language. We just limit the amount of like distractions in our team's classrooms as much as possible. It's so easy. We know that the text message trend has taken off, and Teams has a text message like function. So we want to limit the distractions. As we know, students can drop gifts and all the things that would take away from learning. So we want to treat it again as much as like a regular classroom as possible. So teachers will be redirecting if we get off topic. If students were to get off topic, they would be redirecting in the chat. And understand that all activity on Teams can be seen by YesPrep staff members, and that a campus dean of students will follow up with the student and family if necessary. So it's just very important that these messages don't erase. So Ms. Suggs or Mr. Nelson were to see these things, they'll be following up with you all directly. So to treat this as a professional line is my best piece of advice, and treat it as if you are in class. If students are listening and you are using appropriate language and you are interacting with your peers and your teachers appropriately. So school hours, no, you all had questions around that. Monday through Friday is going to be 8:30 to 3:45. Front office phones will be answered remotely by the operations team during these times. We're also setting up a YesPrep North Forest email for you all in the event that you cannot reach our phone, because we know that sometimes phone lines can get busy, so that we can distribute the information or get you to the right department, as we know that this technical space is just very different. While operating virtually, school buildings will be closed unless otherwise communicated. So we know that as we get closer and closer and closer to opening, we'll be giving you all information on that. But at least up until September, the school building will be closed. So just make sure that if you have questions, to reach out to the front office phone, and then more information around the YesPrep North Forest email will be coming out later on this week. Child nutrition. So starting August 24th on Mondays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll be having 5 days worth of breakfast and lunch. for all campuses. So if you want to stop by and get breakfast and or lunch for your students, or students, if you want to stop by and come get breakfast and or lunch for yourself, if you are upperclassmen and you can drive, feel free to do so. Again, starting Mondays, August 24th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Make sure that you just tune into your lessons though. So parents just make sure that they know that they still have to join their synchronous lessons and their asynchronous lessons. So be mindful of their schedule and what times they come up to the school to pick up their lunch and or you do. So no uniforms in semester one. We realized that again during these times, what was the priority was that all students should engage in online learning. And as important as uniforms are in a regular in-person space, we realized that being virtual, we want our students to be comfortable. We want our students to engage in a way that is comfortable. So no uniforms. I ask that we keep it appropriate though. So make sure you have on a t-shirt, make sure you have on a collar shirt, no white beaters, etc. So just make sure you have on a shirt and that you are appropriate in appropriate school clothing. We'll be giving more details around that and like the specific things that they can wear and they cannot wear later on this week via Facebook and our school messenger. We want to just stress that there's no need to just wear a Yes Prep polo. Be comfortable, but be appropriate. And in the event, I'm sorry about this, in the event that we were to return in person this semester, it still would be free dress and we'll be giving more context on that as well. So tech support for student issues. Many students have been issued devices. Thank you all for coming up and picking up the laptops. Ran very smoothly. Apologies for the first day of distribution. Worked out some kinks. The second day went extremely well. But the goal is that all students will be issued a device one-to-one by the end of semester one. So extremely excited about the fact that we're moving towards every student having access to technology. Students, if you need login credentials, students will complete a Microsoft form located on the Yes Prep website to request login credential support, and the campus operations team will support students with login issues. So make sure you're following this protocol in the event that they do have technical issues, and a member of the operations team will follow up accordingly. And then homeroom advisor teachers will be responsible for submitting Zendesk tickets for students experiencing technical issues with their Yes Prep laptop. If they are, make sure that they're reaching out to their homeroom teacher. So to give you an example, if I have a student named Brian, I'm his homeroom teacher. Brian will just let me know he's having trouble with his laptop. I then would complete that Zendesk ticket so that they can reach out to you all to get that issue resolved. And then homeroom teachers will be the liaison between the student and field service technician. If the device is inoperable, students will contact the front office to arrange a drop-off time. And if that is the case, then the operations team will then replace that device for you. So again, we know that technology can be finicky. So what we are trying to do is like learn how to best replace it and or what issues can be fixed in the long run of things. So be patient with us as this is a new uncharted climate that we are in, but have students advocate for themselves as well if they need support with their devices. And then college initiatives. So CI remains a thing, y'all. Again, we have to remember why we exist is to increase the number of college-ready graduates in the North Forest community. So all students and families are invited to follow the new Instagram, YPNFCI. I encourage all of you to do so, just seeing all the cool things that our 11th and our 12th grade team are doing. They'll be posting information if you have an 11th grader or 12th grader. They'll be posting information about college opportunities for students and host sessions for families to learn about colleges. So even if you have a 6th grade, this is a great opportunity just to learn about what colleges are expected going into this new environment. And if you have an 11th and 12th grade family or student, make sure your taxes are completed. And if you need any assistance or have any concerns, please reach out to our Director of College Counseling, Ms. Pugh, and Pugh at yesprep.org. This is strictly so that we can ensure that we are doing things, and again, in a timely manner, knowing that we're going into a period in which we used to do these things in person, and now they're virtual. And if you need any support, reach out to Ms. Pugh. Seniors will have to create a college list by the end of September, and we ask that families be a part of that process to ensure that students are going to the right college. So Ms. Pugh and her team will be reaching out to you all for support with that, and be on the lookout for learning series for families to tune in and learn about students' options after high school. So we just want you all to know that we still are very college ready focused, and Ms. Pugh and her CI team will be reaching out to you all accordingly. So important dates and reminders. Monday, excited to say this. Been waiting on it all summer. Seems like is the first day of school. No, I would love to get in front of all students in the gym and give my charge as their principal. But nevertheless, I will do it asynchronously via Teams. So make sure that they are logging into their Teams account to get the message from me and members of the leadership team. So Monday is the first day of school, August 24th. Monday, August 24th, Tuesday, August 25th, the beginning of the year's Culture Days. So we're going to be, our primary focus is to get students adjusted to being in a virtual setting. So giving them new updates of how family gatherings will work, or how grades will work, and how their schedule will work, how attendance will work. So we're going to be preparing them for being virtual. Monday, September 21st is the earliest date we will return it in person. So again, we are preparing to return in that day. In the event that we don't, we will let you all know. Thursday, September 10th, our senior 12th grade virtual parent meeting. So if you have a senior that is attending our school, go ahead and mark that day down. We also will be sending out all of these dates via Facebook and School Messenger. Monday, September 7th, tutorials will start for high school. So we realize that there's been a gap in which students left. The last day was March 13th, and then just kind of like fell off, and they had this virtual Keep Yes Prep learning. We realized that, and we want tutorials to start specifically for our high school students starting September 7th, and then our middle school students will be starting not too soon, not too later after that, and then we'll be giving those dates as well. And then grading document deadlines will be shared soon via School Messenger and social media platforms. So any updates we have around progress reports and or report cards will be coming out soon. So be sure to like check your School Messenger and your social media on the regular, and or Facebook, as we'll be posting those dates as well, just to ensure that we're reaching you all. And I cannot end this time or this thing one without thanking you all for joining. I know that it was 6 to 7. I have 3 daughters, and I know that it can get real tricky around this time of putting people to bed, and then or cooking dinner or just running errands. So one, thank you for joining. Thank you for trusting us and sending your son or your daughter to Yes Prep North Forest. I assure you that we are going to do everything that it takes to make this as normal of a year as possible. And we cannot forget why we exist. We exist to increase the number of college-ready graduates in the North Forest community. And I assure you have my word that that will happen no matter the space, being virtual or in person. And with that being said, we're going to open up the floor for some Q&A. So I'm going to ask Ms. Carlos and Ms. Zamaya, Ms. Suggs, Ms. Johnson, and Ms. Lightfoot, if you see any questions that are popping up in the chat, that you go ahead and unmute yourselves, and I'll do my best to answer those questions.
I will go ahead and speak. My name is Mrs. Johnson. I am the Director of Campus Operation this year. One of the questions that I saw frequently had to do with login setting or students not knowing their login information. So in the chat or in the Q&A, we have responded to that question over and over again. So if you happen to have that same question, I just want to make sure that somebody is looking to see that there is a Google form link that has been posted over and over to go ahead and fill out that form, and that will give you access to somebody being able to reset your password and give you the student's email for their Teams account. Somebody will reach out to you with that information, whether it's via email or via phone call, as soon as possible. So that is one question that I did want to address verbally.
Okay. Yes, I can. So, sorry, y'all. That's another tricky function with Teams. Sometimes you're on mute and you don't know you're on mute. Yes. So I'll respond to the cameras on an off question. So we would prefer for students' cameras to be on just to ensure that we are engaging with them. Um, as if it was a classroom. So we realized that, you know, if there is a situation in which the camera has to go off, we have a function, something that we've normed as a team called the be right back function. So what our team, what we've asked our teachers to do is to turn off their camera, turn off their sound, and then they just drop in the chat, be right back in the event that we have to go to the restroom or any other event is happening. So for the most part, we would prefer for cameras to be on. And then again, if cameras have to go off or sound has to go off, go ahead and drop the be right back function. And also to being on the computer from 8:30 to end of day. So with the synchronous and asynchronous, the synchronous is going to have students be in front of the computer. The asynchronous is going to have students and you all to have a little bit more control of the day. So we realized like it might need a 5-minute, 7-minute break. As long as they're engaging in it with the asynchronous lesson, that's what matters. Again, we want to treat this like a regular school day, so we realize that being in front of a computer can be draining. But in the event that we do go back to school, they will be in front of teachers all day. So we want them to just kind of build that muscle memory and just being back like into a the setting that they would be in if they were in person, even though it is remaining virtual. So if they need just a slight break and they are still completing the asynchronous lessons, that's fine. Just making sure that they are managing their time is the goal. They will have lunch. However, sometimes a teacher may ask a student to participate in a tutorial during lunch, which is not out of the norm, right? If we were in person and students were going to class, we have seen our students go from being in class to going to lunch and then having our teachers come pull them to tutorial so that they could be reassessed in a smaller group setting in which they could be successful. So if you have any concerns or if your student again is struggling with it, just reach out to a member of the leadership team so that we can see how we can best support them, because we know it's going to be an adjustment, but we want to just have them in the mindset of being in school all day. I also too will want to just say, just continue to be patient with us. One thing that I have been expressing to our team is just the idea of being agile and graceful. So the emails and the phone lines have been slammed, as you can imagine, that we have a lot of questions coming in. So just be patient with us. One thing that the operations team and every other team that has been designated to answering you all's question has committed to is getting back to you all. It's just a lot of information coming, so we're just trying to see how to get the most information out in the shortest amount of time. So just be patient with us as we are committing to getting those questions answered to you in a timely fashion. And I'll ask the leadership team, are you seeing any other questions? When do kids get their schedules? Ms. Johnson, could you answer that question? You might be on mute. One second. Ms. Lightfoot, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I know that we were talking about schedules today. Can you elaborate more on when students will get their schedules?
Yes.
Or when those will be finalized? I'm sorry.
Schedules are being finalized as we speak. When schedules are final, they will be available on Skyward. So instead of looking on Teams for a schedule, you will see the schedule on Skyward. I also want to address the parents are also asking about the Teams accounts, and you're saying that you're seeing the classes from last year. That is accurate. Teams will be updated with classes from this year by end of day on Friday. So your students should be added to all of their new courses by end of day on Friday.
It is important that you remember, thank you, Ms. Lightfoot. It's important that you remember to make this a lot easier. What we are doing for the first 2 days is having students just log into their homeroom on Monday and Tuesday, and teachers will rotate to them to familiarize themselves with the schedules or give students a chance to familiarize themselves with the schedule. So again, on Monday and Tuesday, they're just going to be logging into those home rooms, which should be finalized by end of day tomorrow. And then their teams, so 6th through 12th grade teams, will then have an opportunity, give the students an opportunity to familiarize themselves with the schedule, so that on Wednesday they know exactly where to go. I did see a question for when are we doing getting the books for high school? We did a high school book pickup last week. In the event that you were not able to make it, I asked that you email Ms. Carlos. Could you drop your email in there so a member of the team, you can contact a member of the operations team so that they can make sure that the appropriate department comes up there to get the books if we need to meet you. Thank you for asking. What time do I need to log on? I always say it's the best bet to try to log on about 4 to 5 minutes earlier. And so just to make sure that Teams is working appropriately, because sometimes it can take a while to join just depending on the internet capacity. So they're expected to log on at 8:30. I would just encourage on Monday and Tuesday to log on around 8:25. And be sure, again, just to reiterate what Ms. Lightfoot said, be sure to check your Skyward schedules, just to ensure that that you are become more and more familiar with what the schedule looks like for the student. I see a question about AP Lang, but the schedule says AP Lit. Do you need to change your books? Wait until the schedules are finalized on Friday, because it might be incorrect. So if it is and they're finalized on Friday, what we'll do is let us know, and then a member of the team will come up there next week to exchange those books for you. Great question. Happy to see a senior on here. Do all students have access to a Skyward account, or only us as parents? All students should have access to a Skyward account. Ms. Carlos, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do all students should have access to their Skyward account, correct?
Yes, if the parent has done re-enrollment, the parent and the student has access to the Skyward account. And actually, the parent can go on to Skyward and see a lot of updated information. Schedules will be posted once they're posted on the Skyward account, so they can see it. And also through Skyward, they could message teachers as well once, once we start rolling out.
Thank you, Ms. Carlos. And Skyward will sync to Teams, you all. So our teachers will be building our classes so you all can join the virtual space, but you all will see as you get on the Teams, you can just click on the link and you will be able to join the class. So once the schedules are finalized, it will sync with Teams, and then you all will be able to see your schedule for the day. So literally you'll be able to go to Teams, click your calendar, and then just join that class.
Can I just chime in one more time?
Absolutely.
I'm Maria Carlos. You've probably seen a ton of emails from me, parents. I apologize, but we're trying to keep you very informed on everything. Some of you are not getting the emails. This is because in Skyward, you may not have updated your information. So it is very, very important to get on to Skyward and do the re-enrollment and make sure your telephone number, your email address, and your current address, because we will either mail, phone you, text you, or call you with any updates that we have. And this will save time and frustration with you trying to call the school as we are being slammed. You'll have all that information in your email. So please make sure you go on to Skyward and check and make sure you have the most updated information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carlos. Thank you for all your hard work too. As well as, yes, we will be sending you all some videos that Ms. Carlos will be posting on Facebook and sending you on School Messenger so that you can become familiar with navigating Teams and all of the sites. So we'll be doing that over the course of this week. We don't want to slam you with all the videos at once, so we'll be releasing those gradually. And as well, if you need some additional support, just don't hesitate to reach out to us, as we know that the first day of school won't be perfect because it's going to be our first time fully launching virtually on the first day of school. But we hope to see 100% of students there. Open up the floor for about another minute to see if you all have any additional questions. All right, y'all. Well, one, I want to thank y'all for taking the time to join me again, to join our team again. As we know, this is not the best space, and we would love to see you. We would love to see the students being dropped off on the first day of school. It's no feeling like the first day of school. I typically don't even sleep the night before the first day of school, even though I've been doing this for over 10 years, just on the level of excitement. But I'm pretty sure that on Sunday, I'm still going to get that same sense of excitement as that we will still be engaging with over 900 students. So thank you again for taking the time. Be flexible with us. The first day of school is always crazy in general. So being virtual, we're going to have to be flexible. So be patient with us, as we can assure you that our goal is that 100% of students are going to be engaging online. At North Forest, we have a saying, sacrifice is temporary, legends are forever. We truly, truly, truly believe that. And this sacrifice is temporary. The sacrifice of being virtual, we assure, like, I have all the faith that it's temporary, but one thing I'm confident in is that the organization is committed to having a safe, smart start. So I know that this is the right start to have. However, like, we know the ideal environment is to have our students in front of us, but we're going to do it in the smartest way possible. And until then, in being in a virtual space, we're going to give the same level of instruction that they would be if they were in person. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for trusting us with your child. Thank you for sticking with us as we figure this out. Again, we just really, really appreciate you all. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us via our Facebook page, email, any member that has chimed in on this team, and we're going to be doing our best to have a 24-hour period turnaround to getting those answers to you, to ensure that we have your student engaged on online learning, and ensure you too that you will be receiving updates weekly on what our reopening strategies look like. So with that being said, have a great night, and again, thank you.